Hello everyone, welcome to another video. It is me, Desiree, and today we're doing it. We're talking unpopular opinions, or some hot takes, if you will. I intended to do this video a few months ago, but I was like all jacked up about a few things, and I just felt like I was gonna go on a rampage in the video, just like overly doing it, I think. So I held off. I still hold some of those opinions and I will share them in this video, but today we're just going to talk about some unpopular opinions. So I've been into plants and been buying plants and learning about them for the last couple of years, and I have learned a lot along the way, and I've also kind of developed a few opinions about things that might not be so popular, but I think more people have unpopular opinions than you might think. They just don't share them, or they don't have a platform where they talk about plants all the time. So I'm going to share a few of mine. And of course, we're not all going to agree on everything. That's the spice of life, I think. I know variety is the spice of life, but I think everybody having a different opinion and a different perspective and a different, like, you know, we don't all have to like the same things, right? I don't know if these are unpopular opinions. They're just opinions I don't hear people say that often or really talk about. And I've been making a little note in my phone. So we'll see how many I go through, because I have a lot, before I start feeling like I'm just going on and on. So the first one is mounted plants are not that good looking. So if you don't know what a mounted plant is, I'll put some pictures here on the screen so you can see. It's usually a fern of some sort, but you can do kind of any kind of plant you want. But people get this plant, they kind of take all the soil off the roots and then they wrap it in moss, and then they stick it, usually with like staples or tape or something, onto a wood board, and then they put it on the wall. It looks so ugly. I have never seen one before that I'm like, that's so cute, I want that. Every time I see one, I'm like, ew, like why? Why would you do that to a plant? So not only is the plant wrapped in moss and it's on the wall now, you have to take it down, I'm guessing, to like water the moss part and keep that moist. So then you gotta smell wet moss all the time. Mounted plants are not for me. They don't look good at all. I've never seen one that I was like, I wanna do that to a plant. Not for me. I put my hands up like, I'm innocent. Don't shoot the messenger. Anyway, speaking of the smell of moss, I wrote on here, moss poles are overrated. So a moss pole, when you're new to plants and you're discovering probably YouTube or Instagram or like blogs and stuff, when you're like discovering it and wanting to learn more about the plants that you have, and you start like buying them all, you know, not everyone who owns plants gets really into plants. Sometimes people just have them throughout their house and then that's it. They don't get like really into it. But if you're getting really into it, you're probably doing a lot of research, you're watching YouTube videos, and you're reading blogs, you're on Instagram, and it's gonna be like shoved down your throat that you need to put your plants on a moss pole. And if you don't know what a moss pole is, it's literally what it sounds like. It's a pole made of moss, but it's like a plastic wrap, and you like roll it like a sushi, like a burrito, but the inside is all just moss. And the point of those, I think, is to have your plant, like maybe some of the aerial roots will attach to the moss, and then it's supposed to like grow up, and I don't know. I thought I needed a moss pole when I had my Monstera deliciosa when I first got it, because again, everybody said you have to have a moss pole. You got to put your plant on a moss pole. Maybe I'll just get a moss pole and put it on my plant. I'm gonna get a moss pole. Like, that word is all I heard, so that's what I thought you had to do to have a certain kind of plant. But you don't. You don't have to stake any of your plants. The plant will just grow anyway. It's gonna grow probably down or hanging rather than up and tall. But your plant knows what to do. It's not gonna just suddenly die because you don't put a moss pole on it. But the reason I think they're overrated is because they're ugly. They're so ugly. I don't want a bunch of poles sticking out of all of my plants. And one of the things you kind of have to do, or as far as what I've seen, is you have to get the pole has to be taller than the plant, because you want the plant to grow up the pole. So then you just have this tall pole sticking out of this tiny little plant, and then as the plant grows, people add like attachments onto the pole. It becomes a whole thing. Not only are they so ugly, I don't like the look of them, and I don't want them sticking out of my plants. Like, I barely, oh, I took it down. I have a plant right here, it's being watered right now, but I have a dell rod in there. I have 3 dell rods in my Monstera deliciosa that they're kind of attached to, just to kind of hold it all together up, because otherwise it grows all crazy. I'll put stuff like that, like this one here has like a little stick in it that came with the plant just to kind of hold it up. But I don't think you need a moss pole for any reason unless you like that kind of stuff, but they're overrated, they're so ugly, they stink. Like the smell of moss, I guess it's okay, I don't hate it, like it's not the worst smell in the world. It kind of smells like wet wood shavings or something, but you have to keep the moss pole wet. Like if you let it dry out all the way, it's going to kind of defeat the purpose of having your plant attached to it. So you got to kind of keep it moist, I think, and then the freaking fungus gnats are going to be all in there, and then that smell of the moss. It's not for me. It's not for me, and I think they're so ugly and so overrated. You don't need it. So the next one I wrote down are rare plants are not a thing. So what I mean by that is calling something rare, and I hear people say that word a lot when it comes to plants, and usually what they mean is not that the plant is rare, it's just like uncommon to find it in their area. I think they mean to say uncommon, maybe, but even then, literally every single plant you can think of, type it into Google, somebody is going to try to sell it to you. So the plants aren't actually just rare, they're just expensive. You know, it could just be called expensive plants, but I think that sounds bad, so people started calling them rare. And yeah, I guess there are some plants that are way harder to come by, plants that are really hard to grow from seed or really hard to even propagate. And yeah, it might be a really, really, really difficult plant to get your hands on, but I don't think any of these plants are really truly rare. If I'm wrong, correct me, but rare plants is not a thing to me. I think, yes, uncommon for sure. Like in my area where I live, I'm never gonna see most plants in real life. Like if I ever find one of the philodendron gloriosums that's kind of circling with proven winners at a Home Depot, if I see one, that might be like a miracle. But for my area where I live, that's definitely an uncommon find. Like they're not gonna send them here, I don't think. But if I see it, I'm gonna buy it in a second. Anyway, I think that rare definitely just means uncommon for your area, not actually rare. And what rare actually means is expensive. That's what I think. Okay, the next, I have 2 more. I'll share 2 more. So the next one is probably more specific to people that are buying constantly, like myself, but Costa Farms. Costa Farms needs to change the planters already. That white planter that they sell all their plants in, I can't with that planter anymore. I've seen it at the Goodwill, I've seen it at Savers, like people are donating that white planter. And don't get me wrong, it's a classic, it looks nice, and if you're buying a plant for someone as a gift, or you don't buy plants constantly, and you just buy one like every now and then a plant catches your eye, it's a great planter to have because it looks good. It looks good and it comes with the plant, which is very uncommon. But they need to switch it up, you know. So last year they started bringing out some other planters. They have some that are like a beige. They had some that are really like dark blue that were kind of cool, like a gray blue, but I rarely see those ones anymore. All I see now are the white ceramic ones. And although they look cool, I'm like sick of seeing it. And I was gonna buy a plant at Home Depot the other day, and it was just another golden global green pothos. They had a good looking one and I wanted to get it. But I thought, if I just take the plant out of the planter and peel the sticker off, do I have to take the planter or can I just leave it there? You know what I mean? I didn't do it. I did end up buying the plant, but I actually had that thought because I was like, I don't want this planter. I don't want this planter again in my house. So let me know what you think. I wish they would switch it up, or I wish they would like let you buy the plant without the planter. I'm sure you could probably do that, especially if you go to self-checkout, just like stick the sticker on the planter. Oh, my boyfriend's at the plant area at Home Depot and he's gonna video chat with me, so BRB. Oh, he's so nice, huh? I hope they have a Gloriosum because I stopped yesterday at one location, they didn't have it, and I know he's at a different one, so we'll see. BRB. Okay, well, 30 minutes has passed. He ended up showing me like a whole tour of Home Depot. Didn't find the Gloriosum though, unfortunately. Let's talk about the last unpopular opinion that I wanted to mention in this video. I wanted to talk about Miracle-Gro, and what I wrote down is that Miracle-Gro is not the devil. And I say that because I didn't know there were like elitist plant people out there, but I guess in any sort of community or hobby or anything like that, there's always going to be elitists that think that the way that they do things is better than anyone else, and that, you know, commercial stuff is mass-produced stuff is the worst thing in the world. And a lot of people talk crap about Miracle-Gro, and I think like Miracle-Gro is popular for a reason, probably. You know, I've been using Miracle-Gro since I started getting plants and since I started wanting to repot them and do stuff like that. So my go-to like soil mix is Miracle-Gro indoor potting mix mixed with the Miracle-Gro orchid mix, and I mix those together, and then that's what I use for my plants. Every now and then I'll throw in something extra, like I'll throw in some earthworm castings, I'll throw in like one of those shaker bottles of fertilizer, I'll throw in some perlite or something, but perlite is not what I thought it was or what people say it is. I know it's getting very dark, but it's fine, I'm almost done. Perlite, the only thing people ever say about perlite is that it's good for drainage and it's good for airflow. Put more perlite in your soil if you want more drainage, more airflow. But not one person, and I'm not exaggerating, not one person in the last 2 years that I've been researching plants has said that it holds on to water. If you want your plants to hold more water in the soil, put more perlite in it. It holds on to moisture. So I had so many plants get root rot and die because I was adding more perlite to the soil because people told me to, because I needed to for the airflow and the drainage, and people acted like if you didn't put perlite in your soil that your plant was gonna die. But the complete opposite happened, and I put the perlite in and my plants all got root rot. So it holds on to moisture, just know that. It says it right on the bag also, I guess I didn't read it. But I was kind of going by the experts online, and I've learned more, I think, from, you know, trial and error and kind of just knowing the plants and getting to know my plants. Where was I about Miracle-Gro again? Oh yeah, Miracle-Gro is not the devil. It's fine soil, they make it for a reason. A lot of people really hate it because they say that it gave them fungus gnats. But in my opinion, I think fungus gnats is more because you're watering your plant too much. You're not letting it dry out. You're keeping the soil moist. So I don't think it's the soil that's making you get fungus gnats. It's overwatering. I don't know. But yeah, I use Miracle-Gro all the time. Although it doesn't have the best longevity, I think in order to get the most mileage out of it, you do you do have to add some stuff to it, because I have used it straight from the bag, and it doesn't hold up that well. It gets really dense and compacted and hard. So yeah, it doesn't have the best longevity. I noticed after about a year that it will start kind of acting that way, so I do mix it up with some other things. But Miracle-Gro is popular for a reason. It's fine. It's okay. And I know that a lot of people probably use Miracle-Gro that won't say that they do. So when they show their go-to soil mix, it's like, use your standard house potting mix, but they won't say a brand name. And I think a lot of the time people are using that without saying it because they're gonna get ostracized by the plant community. Anyway, I'm gonna call it there on the unpopular opinions because the lighting is getting jacked up. But yeah, that is it. Let me know some of your unpopular opinions. I would love to know, and we can all share together what our unpopular opinions or our hot takes. And if you don't agree with what I said, that's cool, that's okay. You know, I know not everyone's gonna agree with me and vice versa, but that's the spice of life. Anyway, that is it. Thank you for joining me for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss my next one. And I will see you later in another video, a better lit video. Goodbye.